Hey everybody, welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So the kids are back to school. The room is quiet. For the most part, the house is quiet, unless my dog decides to come in here, and at which point you will hear clitter clatter on the floor of his nails. So, without further ado, let's go on. Fig update and other plant update here in the windowsill in my son's room. Now this is a south-facing window. I've got a piece of fabric in the window that I'm holding with my head so it doesn't fall in front, and then we got like blinds right here. Now the blinds were down, which were kind of protecting the limbs and stuff, and I'm gonna try to see if my son will let me leave it up, and yeah, so we'll see. But how are all the things doing? How are all the trees doing and the plants? Well, this looks like it's struggling just a little bit. Now, this is not a fig tree. This is my, I like to call it my jalapeno, which is basically a cross between a jalapeno and a bell pepper. And one of the leaves is dying over here, but for the most part, it's still green. So I'm hopeful that it'll put out new growth again or more in the spring. We got some pretty healthy looking leaves and stuff up there. So, I mean, for the most part, you know, looking pretty good. This one's looking really good. This is a bell pepper, I believe, that I grew from seed last year. I believe it's a bell pepper. Anyways, so that one's actually doing really well. It's a lot smaller than the other one. And if this one doesn't make it, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to be starting some new seeds this spring. So in about a month or so, I'm going to start some new ones. This is my yellow long neck from Wellspring, and it is doing lots better, you guys. We have had a tiny bit of growth, maybe about a ½ inch of growth since last June or July, but slow growing, but still doing good. Testing the soil. That soil still's kind of damp, so I think I'm gonna leave that be. This one doesn't need to be watered either. This one does need to be watered. Oh, gotta fix the fabric is moving. As you can see, it kind of looks a little bit dry. If I dig down just a little bit, there's still some moisture down in there. I do think I'm gonna give this a little drink. Now this is my Black Madeira Island version, I suppose. I got it from a person on Our Figs. It was a gift. I gave them some gifts also in trade, and so I guess more of a trade than anything. So pretty awesome. I traded some of my elderberry cuttings, and actually they were rooted cuttings, so it worked out great. So they got a few elderberries to get started on their stuff, and we've got ants eating the leaves, you guys. See that? The ants are coming in here and eating my leaves. So I'll have to be watching that now. I'll have to check on these a little bit more often. So that's how this is looking. So I might need to spray around my containers. But yeah, so it's looking pretty awesome, you guys. It's gotten quite a bit of growth. It's grown about 8 inches up here, or maybe 5 to 6 inches, about 6 inches. The leaves just make it look bigger. And then these are the cuttings that I got from my niece in California. And they're doing really well. Of course, not all of them are going to take, but I do have growth on most of them that are in my container pots here. So I'm really, really excited to see how well everything does. Again, they need to be in their own container. It's going to be really fun to separate these. This one does need to be watered, so I'll be watering that one today as well. These are my black goji berries. Now, I say mine, but my sister actually bought the seeds, and I'm growing them for us. So I will be letting these grow. I brought them in because I knew they weren't going to make berries this next year. So it's going to be at least 2 to 3 years before they make berries, and I really wanted them to grow. And so I brought them indoors, and so that way they would get growing and through the winter time. And so now they're looking really good. I think I lost one of them possibly And so it looks like I might have 2 or 3 now. I think I had 4 in here before. So they're doing good. I decided to move them out from underneath the grow lamp because they started getting kind of leggy here and they're falling over. So I wanted them to have a little bit more vigorous, like strong growth. And so I moved them into the windowsill just so that they would slow down on the growth a little bit and stabilize a little bit more so that these won't be so flimsy. And so it seems to be working. These ones are a little bit more tougher that are coming up. So I'm really excited about that. All right, so here are some more of the fig cuttings. Again, not ideal. Don't plant them like this. Don't take my, don't do what I'm doing. I had so many cuttings and I didn't have enough pots. So I just shoved them all into pots. Now, I'm not going to worry about separating these until spring. And if I have some die off, I have some die off. I'm not going to worry about it. But I'm going to be very, very gentle, and I'm going to get everything ready to go in the spring when it's time to separate these. Now, I do have lots of roots coming down here at the bottom, so I do know that a lot of them have rooted. And these were fresh cuttings, you guys. They had not been dormantized. So I had to plant them right away. I couldn't wait until spring. So these were the majority of them that I got early winter, like back in December and November, even from, I'm wanting to say, Off the Beaten Path, those I do not believe had a chance to even go dormant yet, not fully. And if they had, they'd only been dormant for like a couple weeks. And in my mind, that's just not long enough. I think that they need to be dormant for a little bit longer before you take your cuttings, now that I'm getting to know figs and that sort of thing through the fig community. And so like I've waited now to take any more cuttings. And so I do need to get some cuttings done and mailed out. But yeah, so these are looking really great. I'm starting to think again that my niece had a couple different varieties on her fig tree, or around her fig tree. Possibly seeded some new ones because there are some other figs in the area. So it might have cross pollinated and created some new varieties, because there are some different shaped leaves here. But I will be watching that in the spring more, and I'll keep you guys updated. The 2 different variety leaf patterns are here, and then the long finger ones. And so I can't remember exactly which variety these were, but I'll have to go back and look. One of the next videos I do, I'll update with what I think the variety might have been. So I'm wanting to say Brunswick, but I could be incorrect. And then here's some more of the fig cuttings that I got from her. And some of them had died back to a certain point. And so I cut them off and I stuck the little nubs down in there. So those might be rooting. But again, and like I've said in other videos, you guys, green does not equal roots. So, and I found that out pretty quickly by learning what I'm doing incorrect and correct. I've been kind of the type of person that I just poke things in the dirt, generally speaking, like I did with these. Now these are Chilean guavas, and I took these cuttings from my guava plant that I have by my front door, and they rooted very, very easily, you guys. I didn't do much of anything. I kind of stripped a little bit of the leaves off, poked it in the dirt, and they rooted. That tends to be my method of rooting things. Sometimes I'll use rooting powder. I will cleanse my stuff. I'm getting more into doing things, I guess, air quotes, hashtag the correct way, and trying to make sure that everything's sterile. And I do think that's very key. And so I'm starting to do things the correct way a bit more. But when I first started, I just like poked things in the ground, and I've had a pretty good success rate when it comes to rooting plants. And so, and I don't think it's really necessarily anything on my part, but I used to have what they would call a black thumb, and I would tend to just kill a bunch of plants. And it wasn't necessarily just me. I just didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know how often to water, or how much to water. And so sometimes I'm drowning plants, and sometimes I was making them too thirsty. And so it was just becoming more diligent about and being more mindful and doing the finger test in the soil to see if it needed actually to have water in it. And then also doing research on the types of plants that you're growing also helps. This great thing called Google, I've used it much, so should you. While we still have it. If and when internet ever goes away, to be able to just look things up and have those answers so readily available to many, almost every question you could possibly think of in the world. And it's just amazing. So I like being able to just go to Google and say, hey, this is the kind of plant, goji berry. How much water does it need? It'll give you like soil conditions, different types of plants need different types of soil, what have you. And so just Google, I think even with figs, some figs do better with less water. And in our region, as you can see, Washington, we've got green right now. This is our green season. Believe it or not, we have yellow season also. Yellow season is in the summer. That's when I don't water the lawn. And it turns completely yellow. And the front lawn I won't water either because I'm renting and I have to pay for the water. So the only thing that gets water is my plants. But anyways, you guys, this is pretty much it. Let me take this address label out of the plant. Doesn't need it. And you guys, thanks for watching. I'll zoom over here because the lighting's so much better right here. And anyways, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Click that bell button. As always, have a wonderful day. And thanks for coming along for my update today on how the plants are doing in the windowsill. Anyways, I'll see you guys all later. Bye.